I genuinely wish I could have used gentle parenting with my son when he was younger. I wish I could have used collaborative problem solving with him. And the reality is, had I used those techniques, which have their place, it would have hindered his ability to be successful. And here's the reason why. Because those approaches are not congruent with how his brain works. And when I mean they're not congruent with how his brain works, what I mean is this, that my son, like many kids with ADHD, is very concrete. Things are either black or white to him. He has trouble seeing the middle ground, he has trouble seeing nuance, and more importantly, he needs to understand structure and hierarchy, and he needs to know that there are boundaries and parameters in place to help him feel emotionally safe. My temperament is not one where I am naturally authoritative. I am a therapist and a former school social worker. It's very natural for me to talk about feelings and to process feelings and to collaborate and to listen to people. So while that's how my brain works, it's not how my son's brain works. So to use that approach that was natural for me, but would have not have helped him feel emotionally safe, would not have been fair to him. So I had to pivot and learn very quickly when my son came to me that I cannot take this approach that comes naturally to me. I had to step into my parental authority, or I really should say I had to learn to step into my parental authority. I had to learn to be very black and white and clear cut and concrete about things, because having discussions about his behavior and asking why questions and asking feeling questions, that's just not where he operates. And I will be honest with you and tell you, this was a very hard pill for me to swallow, because it said to me, I cannot parent in a way that's going to feel natural for me. I have to parent in a way that's going to be best for him. That is not natural for me, and that I had to learn, and that often doesn't feel good to me. One of the things I've been finding over the past several years in particular is a lot of parents are being affirmed in believing that the way they parent should feel natural to them, regardless of if it helps their child feel emotionally safe or if it'll help their child feel successful. Because they're being taught to believe that if they feel that they're being compassionate, well then that's all that matters, because compassion will somehow change all their child's poor behaviors. That's just not reality. I wanted to make this video because so many parents reach out to me and say, you know what, we tried the gentle parenting thing and my child's behavior actually got worse. And I say to them, I get it. You know, I have a son with ADHD also, and that would have made his behavior worse also had I used that approach. And I tell them this because I want them to understand that they're not doing anything wrong. Rather, they tried a parenting technique that is comfortable for them and makes them feel good because it feels very compassionate, but it's not what their child needs. As for collaborative problem solving, again, everything has their time and place. And for my son, that would not have worked, because my son didn't want to sit down and collaborate everything and negotiate and figure out how can we solve problems together. He wanted to be told, this is how things work and this is how things are. And you know what? Often that caused emotional dysregulation when he realized he wasn't going to get what he wanted. And at the same time, it helped him understand this is the way the world works, and you're not always going to get what you want, and you're going to have to develop the resiliency to understand that life is not always going to work in a way that you want. And that was very difficult for him, and it resulted in a lot of things being damaged and a lot of very mean things said on his behalf, both to myself and to teachers, but he needed to learn that the world did not work on his terms. So here's what I want you to take away from this video. If you are parenting in a way that feels good to you and feels right to you or feels natural to you, but you find it's not helping your child's behavior improve, or in fact is making things worse, like many of the parents who have reached out to me, I want you to understand you're not doing anything wrong, but you have to parent in a way that is congruent with how the ADHD brain works. Now, obviously not every child with ADHD is the same, but I will tell you it is very common for kids with ADHD to be very literal in their thought process, to be very black and white, like my son is, and to want to understand hierarchy and structure and understand where the limits are for things, because that is what helps them feel emotionally safe. So parenting in a way that will help your child be successful and feel emotionally safe might not feel good to you. It might feel like you're not being compassionate towards them. It's about what they need and what you can do to help them be successful. So I just want you to keep that in mind. I hope this is helpful. I will speak to you soon. Take care.